The NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, has been in the Upper East region for the past few days. His fiercest opponents, the Vice President and the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, recently wrapped up on the first leg of his Eastern Regional campaign and is preparing for the launch of the party's manifesto in the Central region next week. Other parties are finalizing their presidential candidates as the Electoral Commission will accept nomination in September. And independent candidates are lacing their boots, hoping to create an upset. We will bring you up to speed on what is happening, but if you live in Tema Community 1, Tema Manhian, the Fishing Harbour, Tema New Town or its environs, or you have friends and family who live or vote in that area, you should keep your dial locked here. Because in the next few minutes, we will be sitting with the Member of Parliament and NDC parliamentary candidates for that area. Now, has he performed to your satisfaction? Will you give him 4 more years? And is he confident of the chances on December 7th? We will be asking that and more with Isaac Ashai Odamtten, the Member of Parliament for Tema East. Remember that we are live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM. And you can also send us your WhatsApp questions on 055 288 0216. Again, 055 288 0216. This remains your election hub, and let's get started on the campaign trail. And seated next opposite to me is the Member of Parliament for Tema East, Isaac Ashai Odamtten. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Great. So how are your constituents doing, first of all?
First of all, we want to thank God for life. We want to thank God for his benevolence over my people in Tema East Constituency and also the entire Tema traditional area. As you are well aware, we are in the annual Homo season, and Tema East is the heart of the Tema traditional area. And so around this time, we extend our season's greetings to people of Tema living in and around Ashaiman, in and around Ajay Kojo, Klagong, Lashibi, Sakumono. You can talk about Zenu, you can talk about Kubeklo, Sasabi, and Adegon. I mean, to mention a few of the original Tema communities. Right. Of course, in recent times, we've seen the sprawl of the area, and so we have other communities springing up like Atadika and others, which are basically part of the Tema traditional area. And so may I use your platform to extend season's greetings to the Tema Traditional Council and all the functionaries around the Tema Traditional Council for the annual Homo festivities.
But are your constituents ready to celebrate the Homo? Are they talking about economic crisis?
Yeah, they are. Okay. But obviously, in Ghana, we say Ablekuma, Abakumawo. And so we...
What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, the hospitality of the Ghana, we open our arms for all and sundry to cohabitate with us. And for the people of Tema, largely our contribution towards the hospitality extends to how we graciously offered a chunk of the Tema acquired area, which now houses the Tema Harbour, which is a major economic sustenance of our country. And so, of course, we have all people, the major tribes of Ghana living in Tema. And so Tema it's a strong cosmopolitan area, but we have not lost our tradition.
Right.
And that's why seasons like this, we open our arms for even the non-indigenous to participate. And I'm happy to be, supporting the Traditional Council in every way to make this year's festival grand. Permit me to mention the Awudun Jase, Ashaman Jase, the Ida 2 Tema here, Bonfire Youth Group, which now is Peshi Bonfire, because now it's going to be the entire community coming together to give light and give some historic, storytelling to reenact our original settlement in Tema. Many people have thought that Tema is Nkrumah's land, but I mean, my dad was born in Tema before Nkrumah, came to get the land for the port and to develop the Tema Township. Right. And so, afi, miha Tema weku main fen shine, obuade weku nupai fen ke Tema shine wujin fen ni ye homowo afi ne fen afi dron. Ni minshi Tema Traditional Council be fen akono. Agbede me fen ni yo Tema. Na meka mehe wo homowo ka afi kokruma ni fe momrie minshi amekono. Ni mimba ho ake afi ne homowo ni fe mo eji srotoko nesa ni mefe ni yo gang ke Ghana fe ke man se fe akwa Facebook alo meni banye ameba namba ye pepe ameba namba ye pepe ye Tema homowo ho ni ba ne no ni the 9th of August is the day for Kwekwe. Thank you for the opportunity.
Right. So let's move away from the Homowo festivities and focus on you as a member of parliament. It's your first time.
Yeah.
Before becoming an MP, what was your political portfolio? What other political position had you occupied?
I would have been asking you, what have you done about me on that regard? But I served as the
MC.
I served as the Metropolitan Chief Executive from November 2013 to December 2016. So of barely 3 years, 3 years, 1 month. And so, but I came to that office with some public sector work as a beza and also as a teacher, a trained teacher, and as an administrator, educational administrator. I moved on then that was for like a decade. And I moved on to the private sector where I worked in the bank for another decade before I have had my over a decade stints with the political arena. And so the people of Tema know me. They know me as one who once served them. And so I also have a very fair idea of what the topography, the demography, and the people of Tema would want. And especially so when I remain a testimonial to how people would reward hard work. And I want to always challenge people who think politics is all about money. No, it's first about the people. I mean, once it's about the people, they see through. The people know who is really about their interest. And when I say I am a testimonial, what I mean is that for 24 years, we had not won the seat. And I know my predecessors had also contributed, had laid foundation, but politics is a seasonal thing. If you don't do it right, you get it wrong and you punish for it. So I always would thank the people of Tema, especially Tema East Constituency, for appreciating what we did when we served them in that capacity at the Metropolitan Assembly and rewarding the NDC and our presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama. In the 2020 election, John Dramani Mahama won, probably with a bigger margin than before. And so awesome. I know the people are happy with what I've done. Personally, right. I have the benefit of reviewing what other MPs have done when I served as MP and by my research work to ensure that no two projects are the same, Every project is unique on itself. And so even for MPs who have come in Tema East, I do not want to measure by their standards. But of course, there are lessons to be learned from predecessors. But beyond that, we want to see what is the real need of the people. What is the current...
Before we get to the real need of the people, since you touched on your political career as the Municipal Chief Executive, when I was doing Metropolitan, I beg your pardon, I chanced on this publication on Daily Graphic dated July 23, 2020. and it says Tema East NDC candidate in hot waters. The reason was because you had embezzled funds to the tune of 5.7 million Ghana cedis. How true was that?
Oh, but I wouldn't be sitting here if I ever embezzle. But you see, the irony of some of these publications, for me, my pain, I got the opportunity to study outside the country. And I realized that the stock of knowledge and research work would want to leverage on quality publications and factual publications, and that will call to question what our media landscape looks like. And so for a publication like this, who would, if TMA, I ask three questions. Number one, if TMA lost or could not trace or had 5.7 million Ghana cedis embezzled, I would have thought that TMA must be up on their feet chasing for that money. And so if that didn't happen, probably everyone who is working at TMA should be charged for negligence, for not protecting the TMA's funds. But the truth is that TMA never lost that money. Number two, why was it that at the time it was the MP who I was contesting who
That
was
you
everywhere?
mean Titus Global?
Yeah, at the time. He was everywhere from Yoko, using state institutions with trumped up charges just to try and, take me out of the race and get in. Truth is always one. And in those days, I contended that for me, I would stand by the truth. I never even would go to anybody because I knew the fallacy of that publication. Finally, the matter actually went to court. We went to court, and today I have been a free man. So it's one publication that is so misleading. So, when you say prosecution, it's understandable. But these are things we see as persecution of political opponents.
Right. So
yeah.
you thought it was just a political gimmick.
That's what it is. If
Right,
it wasn't so, they would have found a reason or answers to it.
Now, did this publication make you popular? Did it contribute to your victory in any way?
Of course, I may not understand all the dynamics, but for me, I wasn't even looking at the publication because, you see, the question is what prompted them to trump up such charges, and it's because they saw that it was not going well for them.
Okay.
So even before I accepted to truncate my study to take up the challenge of leading my revered, lovely, the best party, the National Democratic Party, I knew. Of course, my friends had thought that, hey, Tema is a no-go area for NDC, but I knew. Normally when I take up an assignment, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And this is one example that makes me praise my God even the more. I trust that the God factor has always been a strong factor that has propelled me. So I wouldn't ascribe my success or victory to the publication, except to say that what they meant for evil turned out to
be for
good.
Your good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now let's move away from all that happened and come to the 2020 elections. You emerged victorious. First time as a member of parliament. How has that been for you?
Oh, it's been interesting. Of course, we know parliamentary democracy also kind of recognizes continuity. And so usually you hear words like backbenchers, because normally the first-timers would sit in the back two rows, It really doesn't matter much, except to say that as it is with every institution, one must be willing to learn the ropes. One must be willing to go through a certain process to acclimatize and to also acquaint with the happenings of the institutions. And so I do agree that first-timers would always be on the back bench to have a better view. And for me, it's also positive because when you see all the people speaking in front of you, it affords you a better, appreciation of what is happening than if people were standing behind you and talking. But even in the midst of that, I think that we've had some solid first-timers in Parliament. In some cases, you may not even know. It doesn't even show that these people are first-timers or not. And I'm grateful to both the former leadership and the current leadership for the opportunities they give us. But as we know, Parliament is rather the committee. We have the committee system. And so my admonition to viewers of parliamentary proceedings will be that Parliament work is more at the committee level.
Okay.
It's more at the committee level. And I'm happy to have served on the committees that I did serve on. And I'm happy for the opportunity I've had to speak on the plenary, on the floor, a couple of times. I've also been blessed to at least debate the budget. So, I mean, my experience as a first-timer is a good one. And I believe that I'm going to add more to both the parliamentary work and also to my constituency with the second term that I very so much want, and I know the people have already given it to me.
I mean, since you have been a backbencher, you said it yourself.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you haven't had to do any lobbying work for your constituents?
Oh, I mean, the evidence on the grounds would tell you.
What is the evidence on the ground?
Yeah, in parliamentary work, you have the part that is well within your control, which is basically the funds. The statutory funds that are given. They are usually not for major projects, because when you look at the common fund formula for disbursement, the chunk of the statutory funds will go to state and state agencies like the assemblies. This year, for example, none of the funds gave more than 2% to the MPs. One was 1.62%, the other is 1.59%. I don't recall the NHIS, but I know the common fund, the total allocation to MPs was just 1.62. Yes, 1.
Right.
So you can't compare this with what goes to government and government activities so far as common fund, which is targeted at the district assemblies.
So if we are to translate this percentage to amounts of money, are you able to tell us the exact amount of money that you have received for some works in your constituency?
Oh yeah, I mean it's for me. If you take Get Fund for example, it's 100,000 for a whole year. Okay, and in a year, I have three.
And what are you able to do with this 100,000?
Yeah, so I can tell you that one of my projects, which is the Ashai Back to School project. For example, last year we served 354 students, and the
on which of the education levels?
For JHS heading into SHS, their first day into SHS. Okay. So we provide that as a support for the transitioning from JHS to S. Most JHS is day, and so when they're going to the boarding school, you want to support them, give them the supplies that will make them feel at home. At least for their first month in SHS, they must have that feel. And remember, my constituency is a very mixed constituency, both the low income and as the middle income. And so Ashai Back to School, for example, alone can be over 400,000 Ghana cedis. And so if you receive that, then you can't do any other thing. Right. But we do support the Metro Directorate for their administrative work. We do support students in the university with laptops, with their school support. Of course, we don't take up 100% of the school fees, but between 40 to 60% of their fees is supported. Our focus is usually the brilliant but needy. And I think that it's gone so well. So far, I can say over 250 people in the universities have received financial support in one way or the other. And we have distributed over 32 laptops to brilliant but needy children in the university. You take that out, even the JHS schools, we are very, very open to them. We are also very interested in teacher administration, where we train teachers within the so far, I've trained over 23 teachers. I've sponsored about 4 people to take on foreign programs that they become trainer of trainers, or trainers, and so for me, it's not about the quantum of money, it's about the leverage God has given me to be able to, mobilize to support my people. For example, under education, I got Flour Mill Ghana to put up a modern 100-seater canteen for a primary school that either to the children sat on the floor. I mean, muddy places, and it's awesome the support I'm getting in the area of education.
Right, you're still listening to Starr today here on Starr FM, and this is the campaign trail, and we are speaking to Tema East MP Isaac Ashai Odamtten. We're also streaming live on Facebook at starfm.com, and your questions are welcome. You can send them to us via 055 288 0216 via WhatsApp. Now, let's still stay on what you say is on the ground. I know that earlier this year, you and the former president, Mahama, visited the Canoe London Beach. What did the fisher folk tell you?
They really welcomed His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the reception does not only give hope, but the engagement has really promoted and solidarized with the fishing community. His Excellency has been president before, and we know what foundation we set for the fishing industry. I recall JM's launch of fishing gear and fishing implement support, where we gave fishing nets, we gave outboard motors, across the country. And
premix fuel.
We managed that better, far better. And JM assured them, and this is the forum at the London Beach where the fishermen themselves were testifying about JM's governance and the policies and how things were run. One person has to say that, look, we are fishermen. When government subsidizes premix for us, it is for our good. In the current administration, of course, during JM, the power was given to the London Beach Committee, which comprised the chief fishermen, the canoe owners, the fishmongers, and so stakeholders within the fishing sector were empowered to manage that which concerned them. Currently, what happens is when premix comes, they've created so many vending points or dumps, they call it, and the fuel is given to party apparatchiks, and then they hike the prices, they add their margins, and sometimes double what government has given just for them to make money out of this impoverished fishermen.
And what have you done about that?
I have raised questions on the floor. I have done press, and I'm mentioning it here. I thought that they would be sensitive enough to even stop. Already there is a commission on the sale of premix. That's what is worrying. The premix regime has a 47 and a 53% margin that is allocated to the committee operators, those who operate, and then the community project. These, in addition to these profiteers have added their other margin, so they take the fuel, double the price, and sell it back to the fishermen. Why are the fishermen helpless? They are helpless because if they don't even take the high prices, they have to go and buy super, which is a higher price for vehicles, and then get oil, buy other things. So they are helpless. And the assurance from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has been and is that when he assumes power on the 7th of January 2025, he's going to give back to the landing beaches, and they're going to manage their affairs. Again, he has assured them that the challenge of our sea and the sustainability of our sea is not in the total closure of the sea. It's in managing the hulls. If you are hauling and trolling and destroying the seabed, that is where the issue is. So he's promised that the industrial trawlers would have to free the waters for spawning and fish, regeneration. But the hook and line and smaller artisanal fishermen will have their day. After all, every Tuesday they don't go fishing, and so there's a rest period for our fishermen. And because theirs is peasant, we allow them, and that promise came from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
I see.
Yeah.
Did they also mention issues about the tidal waves?
They did, but again, that is one reason why they are yearning for the return of John Dramani Mahama. You recall in the 2014-2016, we had started the sea defense because, you see, tidal waves are not only effects of our internal or national activities. Some are global. I mean, global warming, sea level rises, and all that would have their impact. But there are also other activities that may impact our coastlines. And so, in the wisdom of the NDC government and in the wisdom of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we saw the Sea Defense Project from, if you go to Pute now, you will see there, you come to, but for the past 8 years, that has stalled. And we are seeing the harsh effects of sea level and tidal waves on our communities. And the sad story is that when these things happen, for institutions that are mandated to take care of our people, we don't. And yet, we are allowed to even concern ourselves with international or cross-border activities when our own people are hit by natural disasters such as tidal waves. And our current president has not shown leadership. Sometimes when these things have happened, the least we expect is for us to commiserate with the affected people and to meet them at least partially, because as a country, we have national disaster management organization that must always intervene. Today, when things like this happen, you see stout and blatant partisanship, that things that are meant to alleviate the pains of suffering Ghanaians would be diverted for party apparatchiks to control. And these and many reasons along the coastline is the reason why we're going to see a major support and vote for John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
I see. Now, when we advertise this flyer, a few of my colleagues and friends put together some questions that they would like me to ask you. So one says that sanitation in communities, especially Site 2. Are you aware of that?
I'm very, very much aware. And I think that the people of Tema have not regretted bringing Ashai Odamtten. What probably they now regret, and they keep wishing that JM comes. And many occasions in our camp balance, they say JM,
they wish that JM would come.
Yeah, that because
their sanitation issues are addressed.
No, because you see, that's what I'm saying, that their disappointment is in the change that happened, because Tema had started the revamping of the 3 pumping stations in Tema. Okay, we had also initiated a process to redevelop the sewer infrastructure. Let me give you a bit of history. The sewer, so the sanitation issue in Tema is both liquid and solid. Okay, for the solid one, we had the landfill side in Pung, which has been poorly managed. At the time that we were supposed to start breaking it through recycling, for us to now break them and take them, government just continued just the piling, because there should be a program that now segregates waste, so that about 60% of the waste that we dump there should go back into the community. If it is plastics, we should begin to turn them around. If it's paper, we should begin. And that process had begun. I was part of a group that got were pushing for the Tema Sewer redevelopment. And we brought to life the 3 pumping stations and actually awarded contract for the examination of the corridors. So we had 2 consultants, maybe I'm not supposed to mention their names, but these consultants worked both in Comtiwan and Manhia to ensure that the sewer lines, and so they started, then we left power. Because these people, sometimes I marvel at the stark difference between their move for community development. I heard their slogan, Tema must shine again. Yet, when they took over, we had planted litter bins. I recall when I was in basic school in the mid-70s and late 70s, we had litter bins on our streets.
But I mean, for the purposes of time, you're saying that you instituted something to address the sanitary issues.
Yes.
And the NPP government failed to continue it.
It's gone bad.
Okay.
They've not sustained it.
Okay.
They've only given lips today. If you drive through Tema. And so what I did to solve or to help the situation was to publicly, at the General Assembly of that, to assure the assembly members on regular basis they must desilt, they must clean, and I support them financially.
Has that
Yeah,
been
they
going
do.
on?
They do.
I see.
They do.
Let's fast track a bit. So we we are headed for the 2024 general election, and as you said in your earlier submission, your friend told you that Tema East is not is a no-go area for the NDC. In fact, since 1996, the NPP has won about 6 times. You managed to win. Let's look at 2024. Before I even come to your response, the NPP insists that you only had a chance to win because there was division in the party. But this time around, since they have elected, they are on a united front. They are likely to reclaim the seats. How do you respond to that?
I don't think I'm even in a race with the one who says it is his time. But
I mean, isn't it possible
for them to get it back? Mm-hmm. Oh, GM said
because
it right.
You were a former MC.
Yeah.
He's also a current.
And that is why he should just sit somewhere, because you see, my works as mayor will be compared to the works of the mayor. Mm. My works as MP will be compared to the regime work, MP's work. So the stage is so set. You take MPship. In my 3.5 or even say 4 years, I have retooled and refurbished 8 computer labs in the constituency. None. For their 8 years, they can't count. I recall in 2014 when they were going to their party primaries, they started a computer, foundation of a computer. It has taken them 10 solid years to complete that. Even that, they took it off the assembly to Coastal Development Fund for it to be done. So the difference is so clear. You go to the community, in just 1 year, we started 12-story building school infrastructure. 5 were completed and put to use. Children went into it. 5. And so the stage, I mean, for me, I know, I said this somewhere, that even 12 disciples, 1 went out. And so sometimes for obvious reasons, you may not get 100%. But I have not presented myself for the people, but I've just made them aware that the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, is a superior party. And here, let me make this issue about one of the secondary schools in. I have said everywhere that when it comes to educational infrastructure, the National Democratic Congress is second to none. Because the major schools in Tema now, if you take Tema Man here, when I mention NDC, I'm talking about the NDC and its antecedent, PNDC. And so Manya is a product. Then I mentioned Our Lady of Mercy SHS, Olams. Olams was a private secondary school. But before we left office in 2020, we had granted absorption. So it became part of government schools. Elsewhere, because I have indicated that NDC was second, that this happened in the school, probably I did not communicate this clearly. But I recall Olam as a private school which the Catholic Church started, came under the domain of government during our time. But the most important thing to note is that even my secondary school, NDC, boom, which is a next community, Mames E Block happened. Today they have a secondary school. You go to Lashibi, the next community, we put up a new secondary school, which is also E Block. So for me, the educational infrastructure in modern times, of course, we can credit Temasco and other secondary schools to others, but NDC is second to none. And this is why Tema is now green. Look, Tema East is falling for NDC. Tema West, where my brother, lawyer James Enu, is contesting, will fall for the NDC. Because lawyer Enu is not just a candidate. He is the people's man. This man is so selfless and so committed to the development of Tema. And I know the kind of network he has and the kind of partnership we are seeing, Tema is rising under John Dramani Mahama and Enu. Tema Central has been a difficult place, but Abby Bright, our candidate, for the past 2 elections has gained rich experience. And I see her strides now, and I'm confident that we're going to turn the entire Tema green in the 2024 elections.
You are clearly here to represent the whole of Tema, but let's pause and take some comments on Facebook and hear Hekle Atagba says that we are really happy with the work you've done and we will retain you. The Shadrach Latte Odamtten says the game changer, father for all, he's everywhere like MTN. Eric Buster says the game changer, Ashai Odamtten, is now a household name. Now Daniel Kwe Amasa says Tema East is in safe hands of Honorable Isaac Ashai Odamtten. Goodman Prince says the Messiah of Tema East, and Daniel says that Honorable Isaac Ashai Odamtten is a visionary man and we are retaining him for Tema East to continue his good work. I'll take the final one. And Enoch Futu says, the blowman of Tema East, the visionary leader, we all vote for you to continue the works you have been doing. Ashai Twaso. Now, in 2020, you put about 56% roughly of the votes. What are you targeting for 2024?
I would agree with my constituency chairman that our minimum should be 60% of the vote.
You are so confident.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see, politics should not be about the self. It should be about the people. Because when you have touched the children, every year, it's not just the election year, every year, we have programs that develop talents. Today, I'm happy that 6 of the young ones under 10 who participated in Kiddie Fest in Tema, one of my projects, they went through the children's talent discovery, and today they are on kids programs on most of them. Over 6 of them are performing so well. I'm happy to be creating the platform. But my joy, let Ghanaians and let the people of Tema East know that our democracy must reflect the people. When John Dramani Mahama ascends the throne, they would see a replication and a multiplication of what we did in our last administration. John Dramani Mahama's victory would be a victory for Tema because the kind of infrastructure support we're going to do under John Mahama's big push and the kind of employment opportunities that would come for our young ones under the 24-hour economy, I am so clear in my mind that these, coupled with the right environment, Ghana would have to deal with the issue. Many people are struggling to believe that NDC can turn the fortunes of, yes, but I am so confident because you see, most of the things we are seeing today is waste. The people are investing in waste. The state resources are being channeled into individual pockets, and I believe that it will take the leadership of John Dramani Mahama to just level the grounds, and every Ghanaian would see the benefit of the leadership of John Dramani Mahama. As I speak with you, I believe that the 24-hour economy, the zone or the area where it will be felt most will be the Tema area because the companies are there. And I recall in 2016 when we gave support to the pharmaceutical industries, that support is going to look, but this time we are saying that whatever support we are giving you is to help you. It's not necessarily financial, but it's to provide you with what would make your business thrive such that you'll be able to double your shift or triple your shift.
Let me take a pause here, and it is just 122 days to the general election. As you may be aware, in about a minute, talk to the people of Tema East, why they should retain you.
Tema East, you've seen the second part of Ashai, where he served you as MP. He's touched your children, he's touched your adolescents in JHS, he's touched your secondary school students, he's touched your university students, he's touched the aged. And so through the Senior Citizens Day, Ashai has touched you in infrastructure. He's looked at your water situation, especially the Bankuman enclave. In our next agenda, we want to have the water reservoirs across all the electoral areas. And already I have 3 projects going on, supported by my former bank. They are putting up water storage in 3 schools, Anglican, Manhia, and Ajeti Ansa. So Ashai will take care of the infrastructure. We started the industrial city basic school. For 8 years, nothing has happened. Ashai will bring back the shine of Tema. Under sanitation, we have started with segregation in our schools. It's not been perfected because the government support and the institutional support is not there. Our waste situation will change. I shared this with a friend that I have a simple one where I get cakes of soap or bar soap and I put a tent somewhere that go to if you need soap to bath or to use in your home and you don't have money to buy, I'll just ask you, go bring 100 boxes from the beach, 100 bottles, empty bottles, just to take the waste from the beach. Bring it. I give you the soap. Then I convey it. I've already identified an off-taker in Ashaiman and Afienya area. We convey it there. They use it. If they like, they should not pay. All I want is to take the refuse off my community. And so everything that we ought to do in this regime, we have done. Under security, trust me, as MP, I have been mayor before and I know what people did. As MP, I'm putting up a 2-story police station, fire service station. We're already close to roofing that in just 1 year. In just 1 year. I have already refurbished and expanded the Luboya police station. So when you talk about security in Tema, I also believe that the neighborhood watch committees are going to be essential in how we promote security within our constituency. And so groups that have come up, I know now sometimes you need state support. And so groups like Aoya, groups like Asafo, groups like our ghetto, we have a lot of ghettos, about 187 ghettos in Tema. And my assurance to all of you, I know you've seen the work, but the greater part of the work is coming under John Dramani Mahama and Ashai partnership. We are the perfect pair.
Absolutely. Your constituents have heard you. Thank you so much. You just heard me engaging the Member of Parliament for Tema East, Isaac Ashai Odamtten. He's been touting his plans for Tema East. The decision will be entirely up to you.